the time has come once more where CTGP rolls out yet another monthly update. It is now 24 hours to go. Literally, there are pretty much 24 hours left in the year. I gotta get this done, like, now. There is not much time. And I haven't done anything this whole year. That clip you saw there a few seconds ago was my first day back in school for the spring semester from January of this year, a little while ago. A good sign of things to come, that was. Now that that semester is well and over at this point, I can definitely say that was a fair warning. I was just chilling there, browsing YouTube, and suddenly... wasn't that fun. The weather had been below freezing for about 2 days beforehand. I was supposed to start school the day before, but classes were canceled because the roads were all icy, and you know how Texans get with icy roads. You've played Sherbetland before, I'm sure you get the idea. Not helping was the fact that most in the area would be college students. Too dangerous, classes canceled. The pipe in my shower drain must have frozen because the water wouldn't go down, and since I'd rather not flood my apartment, I had to live with my terrible, greasy hair for too long. It was like that winter storm from 2021 all over again. Mildly more tolerable this time because I still had power, still had heat. I was able to get my shower and wash my hair after classes, which was nice. It's good to have clean hair. And then this happened. How's your 2024 been? Now before I get on with it, I've been thinking about why I've been putting these update videos off to the side so much. That yeah, school does get in the way a little bit, but that didn't stop me 2 or so years ago when I was in high school, so what gives now? I don't know, really. But I'm gonna try to make these a bit shorter, so I won't need to spend as much time on them. I started these as a way to give some surface level commentary, and I've been trying to get a bit too deep into some of the recent ones. Maybe that's what you'll like about it, me rambling for half an hour. Maybe not. Who knows? Well, we'll see how it goes. I already had some stuff written down for December 23, so that's the one I'm going with. It'll take some time off having to write more stuff. Ladies and gents, this is the update number 1154.5. Let's talk remove tracks. Let's do that. Nightlife Party is one of those tracks where I never really cared for it while it was around, but I know I'm gonna miss seeing it there. It was harmless, it was inoffensive, it was kind of mediocre if I'm being real with myself, but I appreciate it for what it is. Would have liked a little more vibrant color scheme. You'd think a track called Nightlife Party would have some brighter colors in it, but it's surprisingly drab. These dark, muddy, desaturated tones in the road really don't scream party to me. But my oh my, you know what does? Perchance, is that a bottle of wine I see? Is that alcohol in my Mario Kart Wii custom track? Ah, blasphemous. But I guess that can make up for the dreary road colors. Dreary is a hard word for me to say. Also, you gotta love the spawn point immediately in front of these thwomps. That's excellent. And that's all I have to say. Moving on. This is a top tier DS track. I don't know what y'all are whining about. I don't know what your issue is. This is amazing. Especially that one part where it's just a straight line for like a third of the track. And then that other part that's also a straight line for a third of the track. Quality stuff right there. Worst removal since Lumpy's Lively. Lumpy's Lively there got removed? Are you kidding me? Oh, god damn it. This is what I get. This is what I get for not keeping up with my Mario Kart. Damn it. That really is too bad. But it's also for another update video. You'll need to wait another year or so for that. Moving on. Ice Peak Mountain has been my personal go-to track when comparing caves. A bit specific, I know, but it's for good reason. Amanita Abyss, Pianta Shore, a few of the new tracks we'll be looking at today. If it somehow looks worse than this, I don't know what to tell you, man. How do you make a cave this ugly? Why so many colors? Just randomly splattered about. I guess because plain white and light blue would be a bit bland, but this is not how you solve that problem, man. This ain't how you do it. Hideous. I have almost nothing else to say about the rest of the track. It wasn't too much to scream about. It's basically a dirt road, grass track covered in snow. I like the frozen pond with the cataquacks the most, if only because it gave something different from the blue road and the rest of the track. I remember there being an Easter egg in the village section. You'd actually be able to go through one of those doors. There would be this image with some Mii's on it and say something like Swag Lords or whatever, and you'd be reminded of how long ago 2015 was. Almost been a full decade at this point. Damn, think about that. Swag Lords. Moving on. This mountain track sure did exist, didn't it? How this was removed before Desert Castle Raceway is beyond me, man. What was wrong with this one? It was perfectly fine. I'm gonna be saying that about all the removed tracks today, aren't I? It wasn't particularly amazing. It was pretty standard as far as desert tracks go, and the Mushroom and Oasis sections left a lot to be desired. But all in all, it was okay. Not the greatest choice for removal in my opinion, but you know what? It had to be done. Something had to be chosen. better this than a track like Desert Fort, I suppose. Moving on. You know, I'm not a big fan of tracks that try to send a message to me. Those tracks made with some profound statement about life and society and stuff. Gets all philosophical. Always feels like they're trying so hard to be so deep, man. So real. Let me preemptively do some damage control for what I'm about to say. I don't want to knock this too hard. If this is Chris's outlet for whatever turmoil he may have been going through, good for him. If this track somehow helps you with whatever you're dealing with, absolutely no idea how it would, but just in case it does, more power to you, man. But hey, this is just how I feel. This is my video about my opinions on my YouTube channel, and I feel like this is a load of barnacles. Oh, isn't this track just so sad? Look at the broken love heart. Oh, I can hear the simple plan already. Aren't you so sad? Isn't this so sad? Maybe it says more about me than anything else, but upon seeing the track's name and then the track itself, my first instinct was to mock it. I really want to make fun of it. I know it's in poor taste, I'm not supposed to, with a track like this, I shouldn't, I really shouldn't, but I'm feeling a bit mean today, I don't know if you could tell. What's with the name? It sounds like a pop song. It's a step above calling it Sadway Depressionville Circuit, but come on. It's just so on the nose. Look at these quotes on the tunnel walls. We won't hurt anymore. These feelings will remain until we die. And then you look at RC1 and it's even more cartoonish. You are alone. No one can help you. You'll never succeed. Just die already. I hate to call someone's plight cartoonish. I know these are dark thoughts and they're very real. People have them all the time. It's a touchy subject. But it's really hard for me to take it seriously when it's presented like this. I might be getting too close to crossing the line between light banter and just straight up bullying. I gotta restrain myself. I hope you're in a better place now. I swear, Chris. I'll leave it at that. Let's talk about the actual track now. You got this guy saying, this track looks awesome aesthetically. Aesthetically, it looks like Dark Matter Fortress crossed with Trek of Shapes. I don't know what you're on about. I do agree it looks interesting, but the big fat meanie in me thinks the track wallowing in its own sadness is cringe. It's just cringe. I know this sounds really inconsiderate. I don't want to be such a jerk. I don't. But all I can think of is the Mario Kart equivalent of an emo 14-year-old's MS Paint drawing where some character is crying and there's a sad pop song lyric in there. I read the overview on the wiki page and I have the urge to roll my eyes. I'm sorry, man, but that's my gut reaction. I mean, look at these particles. Are these meant to be teardrops? Oh, that's so sad. I just said I gotta restrain myself, dude. I'm not making any friends with this video. I'm sorry. Props for the extra effort to make the particles fit the theme. If you really think about it, this track really is deep, man. It delves into the depths of the human psyche and how we process our messy emotions in times of distress. The reassuring quotes along the tunnel walls contrast against the despairing environment around it, illustrating how something as small and simple as a few words can make one endure all the misery life brings with it. And all these clocks along the sides of the track are a reminder that our time on this earth is finite, and we shouldn't spend too much of it dwelling on these negative emotions. And also, there's the fact that this track is cyclical. It's more than one lap, but the title is Journey to Fix a Broken Heart, which would, at least to me, imply a one-way path. As if to say your heart will be broken several times in life, and you will find yourself in a rut every now and again, and it'll hurt in the moment, but in the end, time only moves one way, and with how little of it you have, you just gotta keep moving forward along with it in pursuit of a better tomorrow. So deep! On the off chance I swear Chris somehow stumbles upon this video, please don't take this personally, man. I'm just poking a bit of fun. I don't mean to be rude. Real talk, if you take away all the melodramatic decoration and title, what you have is honestly pretty interesting. This sort of psychedelic track design really jives with me, particularly these octagonal bounce pads. I really like this idea. It's sort of like what I wanted Royal Rainbow to be. You have your typical transparent flat road as the base of the track, but then you have some other stuff in there too, like this tunnel. I wish there was a little more done with the tunnel, honestly, like some pillars obstructing the road in some parts or some cracks in the floor, but still, it offers something different. And as I mentioned before, these octagonal pads with differing angle orientations in space, I'm making this sound way more complex than it is. There were some good ideas in here. Even the seemingly nonsensical decorations floating around in the sky with the strings of arrows, the clocks, the fog, the eyes. I love it. It's like something out of a dream. I really do wish we could see more tracks take this kind of experimental approach. It's trippy, it's great. It's what I feel Dark Matter Fortress tried and failed to achieve. I think I mentioned that already. I guess Mansion of Madness would be a good comparison. That one's all over the place and I love it for that, even if it is rough around the edges. Maybe my taste is just fickle, I don't know. The track itself leaves a lot to be desired for me. It suffers from a lot of the same pitfalls as Royal Rainbow does. since I guess I'm comparing these two tracks now. Again, it's probably just personal preference, but I want it to be harder. More obstacles, less space on the roads, I want chaos. I think it would be really great if it leaned into the whole what the hell kind of fever dream is this aesthetic and actively confuse the racer. Crank up the jank. Maybe have a slightly different looking octagon pad, like slightly transparent or something, and make it have no collision so the player falls right through. A lot of people would complain, probably. I think I would even complain, but I think it would fit thematically. Life could be deceptive at times, and this is a representation of that. You just gotta get over it. Skill issue. I've rambled on long enough. I'm not even done with the removed tracks yet. Let's wrap things up. All in all, track is kind of a lot of potential, couple good ideas, cringe name. Moving on. I'm not sure how well Moo Meadows' music complements the gloomy atmosphere of Gallant Grotto, but I suppose something like Ghost Valley wouldn't exactly fit too well either. Not every dark lit track needs Ghost Valley or N64 Bowser's Castle. The track was fine, it was pretty standard, nothing to scream about. It's too bad it only lasted for like a month, but it is what it is. I wouldn't say it's as creative, let's put it, as the last track, but for a sweet and simple little track like this, you could certainly do a lot worse. I like the pirate chickens in the item boxes, lovely little detail. And here you could see me foolishly assume there's a wall lining the side of the road, but I have been duped. Can't believe this. Good track, 6 or 7 out of 10. Moving on. And now the final one of Chris's tracks today. It's pretty similar in theme to that Fiery Factory Fading Frost track we'll get to in a moment, so it's as if it never left. I could only assume we're in a steel production factory in the middle of the Arctic, or maybe Finland, or somewhere really cold. And all this here is molten steel. I just finished taking a class where we talked a lot about steels, so I guess I've just got steel on the mind right now. Steel. It's based on some ice-themed area in Metroid Prime, and like with Gallant Grotto, it's fairly standard quality. Standard by today's expectations, it's pretty good all things considered. The cold outdoor portions of this track I'd say are pretty comparable to Alpine Peak, which I think is pretty alright. And the hot, orangey lava bits, I guess, are from the creator's imaginations, because I don't see anything like that in this wiki here for the Metroid Prime level. Again, like with Gallant Grotto, it's short, sweet, very well made. I disagree with Chris's decision to have his tracks removed, even the one I just made fun of. I hope I didn't go too far, man. Moving on. They removed Lunar Spaceway. What? No. What? Okay. So let me get this straight. Jungle Jamble gets to stay. Luigi's Island gets to stay. But Lunar Spaceway? That's gotta go. Get it out of here. Damn, okay. That's too bad. I thought it was nice. This is not to say it was without any faults. I praised it a lot back in December of 2022. Wow, that was 3 years ago. But I also have some complaints about it as well. I always have complaints. My channel description has said so this whole time. The biggest of which is that it can get a bit long. This is an issue with a lot of Big Otto's work. They feel like they're scaled a smidge too high, so you end up with these long and wide segments where nothing ever happens. I said I'd rate it an 8 out of 10 because of its longevity, and I suppose that's fair, but realistically speaking, the emptiness drags it down quite a bit. So all in all, it'd be closer to like a 6 or so, maybe even a 5. But I still like it. I'm gonna miss it. It was a classic. Sucks to see it go, but I guess it had to happen sooner or later. Oh well, not like I played any Mario Kart recently to appreciate its presence. So long, it is now cast away into the void, never to be heard of again. Shut up, none of these distributions are real. CTGP is the only source of custom tracks, and Lunar Spaceway is not there anymore, so it no longer exists as far as I'm concerned. Womp womp. Moving on. Oh wait, there's no updated tracks this time around? Oh look at that, there aren't! Sweet, less stuff for me to say. So this is the one that came in to replace Lunar Spaceway, theme-wise. It's another track that really abuses the cool colors for its palette. Pretty much everything is some shade of blue, purple, or green. I guess it's trying to evoke that sense of alien marsh it's going for, with the eyeballs in the cave walls or what have you. Interesting. Mushroom section's a bit jank. You can sometimes see a few CPUs getting stuck here in an endless loop of death. I also seem to struggle more than I probably should with the river, probably because I don't play the game much anymore these days. Overall, it's a solid little alien track. Just bizarre enough to make you think, aliens. Alright, sure. It's fun. I don't got much else to say. For a Lunar Spaceway replacement, it does its job pretty well. Moving on. What kind of name is that? Fiery Factory Fading Frost. It's like 2 track names in one. It's a movie title. For the sake of brevity, I'm just going to refer to it as FF. So FF here, like I mentioned a minute ago, is juxtaposing fire and ice, hot and cold, industry and nature, a classic, and it comes with a message as well.
You know, I'm not a big fan of tracks that try to send a message to me.
The icy portion progressively melts away over the course of the race, and there are all these signs of Bowser telling me to go green, I love renewable energy, save our icebergs, I hate microplastics. Oh hell yeah, I love being preached to in my Mario Kart tracks. I know these signs are here to highlight the irony of Bowser not in fact being environmentally friendly with the way he's running his factory. It's for comedic effect, I get it. The message of is a bit ham-fisted, all I'm saying. There might also be something about working conditions for the laborers in this factory. He's always monitoring them, always watching, making sure they don't get any lofty ideas like sick leave or please let me see my family, I've been stuck here for years. You gotta let these workers know their place in life. We can see from these stacks of beams here, probably takes place in another steel production factory. We can see the oil he's using to quench and harden those steels is being disposed of properly by dumping it straight into the ocean. The surrounding area is actually in a pool of oil rather than water, which is so much cooler. Look at that black sludge, so cool. Useless icebergs melt away into drivable boxes you can use as ramps. I see no problems with what Bowser is doing here. Toads for change can eat cementite. This is awesome. Overall, it's really well made. I admire the effort it took to create. Kudos, Cottony. Moving on. Okay, well, it's very blue. I might just be getting pickier these days, but I'm not very impressed. What distinguishes this from a track like Siberian Chateau? I can't really think of much. It's about the level of quality I've come to expect from ZPL. That is, it's perfectly fine. Am I saying that too much? Have I said that enough times yet? It's fine, it's okay. About average for a modern day track. But when it comes to CGP level of quality, I feel like this one kinda underperforms. It's a typical castle course painted blue and decorated with dead fish, with a Diet Koopa cape thrown in there. There's a chandelier. It ain't got much going for it. To be fair, it is one of ZPL's earliest works from what I can gather, so it makes sense why it's not quite up to par, but he also remade it from scratch in 2013. This was not the original layout, so maybe that ain't too good a defense. I don't know. My immediate response to this is that it's not very good, and I want to say something negative about it just to have something to say, but I think I used up all my negativity on Alone and Incomplete, so I'm kinda left with nothing here. The track is nothing. Moving on. I'm gonna sound really, really mean again, and I apologize, but the most interesting part of the track is the custom item boxes. These were made by the track creator himself, Edward JW, so maybe that'll compensate for me saying his track isn't very good. His track isn't very good. I suppose each update, there's gotta be at least one track I don't think is all that great. Given the level of quality in the rest of today's arrivals, this one feels so lacking in comparison. In style and design and intrigue. Even the ZPL track I just said was underwhelming has more going for it. This track takes its inspiration from Spooky Swamp World in some Spyro game. Whether it's faithful to its source or not, I can't say, but what I can say is that it's boring, and it's so long. Why is the track so long? Each lap is roughly 1 minute and a quarter or so, and it's 3 laps. It's a full 3 laps. That's nearly 4 minutes total race time. That's so long. Why is the track gonna be so long? As a general rule of thumb, at least for me, if the time to complete your track is 4 minutes or more, it's gotta earn that. You know how when you take a right, you naturally want to stay on the right side of the road? This track doesn't want you doing that here. Make sure you take this ramp up to the left in the spot. If you don't, you'll be stuck down here. I don't know if the speed boosts are enough to even things out. I'm assuming this way is slower if you don't have any mushrooms. Just be advised, you're supposed to go to the left. It's definitely an interesting choice of obstacle, challenging a player's intuition like that. But I gotta say, aside from that, this track does not speak to me. I wish I had something funny or even just substantive to say. But again, I don't. All I have is moving on. This one immediately grabs the attention with its grungy, sickly look. It's a simple subversion of the cheery and rosy Peach's castle that we're all used to, but nothing groundbreaking. The ruinated idea stems from some concept in League of Legends that I don't really care to look into. As far as castle tracks go, particularly monochrome castle tracks, I think it's a step above Aqua Dungeon. It actually does something with the concept, and oh my god, did Luigi get hanged? Christ, dude! Can't say I was expecting that. At least the cows haven't changed. They're still in their pure, innocent form to provide some comfort. They still have their purity. All hail Ghost Cow. I'm getting a little spooked here. I'm scared. I'm gonna use my trusty skip track button skip the track. Moving on. So this is Multi Mario Kart's attempt at a one-lapper. One-lap tracks are always going to be a bit more finicky than the traditional three-lap. You're not allowed to repeat any sections, it's a one-lap track, what did you think that meant? So every bit matters. You have to keep the racer engaged the whole way through, not a lot of room for slack. Does Multi Mario Kart pull it off? I think so. It's a very scenic course, it's based on a Studio Ghibli film of the same name. Ghibli? From what I've heard of Studio Ghibli, their animation is top-notch, so that's definitely a good source of material. I know nothing about anime, y'all, just throwing that out there. The track is good. The first half is admittedly a bit dull relative to the second half. I feel like we spend a little too much time in the mines, and not a whole lot happens in the mines, so I don't really care too much. And then we get launched into the airship, whoa, and as soon as we come, we leave. Oh, okay. And now we get into the actual castle, which is the best part. Looks awesome, plays decently, it's much more fast-paced and compact than the mines. You might tell, but I ain't in love with it, but it's pleasant. I like it. Good enough, I say. Also a really cinematic ending for a Mario Kart track. Good stuff. Moving on. This is what Nightlife Party should have been. It's flashy, it's fast, it's vibrant. I don't even understand what I'm looking at half the time, but it's awesome. This is based on Weemfly Station, another sneaky track from 2017. I remember first seeing it and thinking that the revolving door idea was super cool. Never seen anything like that. Dude, that looks so infuriating. Woo doesn't have that. What it does have is a Wiggler wearing a bunch of party hats. I think that says enough about this track. Moving on. Prophecy! Dude, the prophecy! Look, I told you.
And I cannot wait for the day Frantic Funyard gets added to the pack. Mark my words, it will happen. Oh. This is rigged.
Shut up, you're dumb. And you're correct, so you're not dumb, but you're also dumb. It did happen. Look at this! I am so smart. I am genius. I take all the credit. This got in because of me. You're welcome, Sneaky. This track is great. It's gorgeous. It's fun. Great stuff. This is the grass track to end all grass tracks. Sneaky, as well as the track's designers Russo X and Boy, breathed so much life into such a simple concept. It could have easily been a plain dirt road with nothing appealing, but they turned it into this work of art. It's nothing short of amazing when you think about it. It's set in this one environment the whole time, which I've complained about plenty of times in the past, you know this, but because of how well it's designed here, you don't notice, you don't care. You hardly even notice that 3 minutes have gone by once the race ends. I almost wish we had a full 3 laps rather than 2. The amount of stuff this track throws at you would make it worth spending 4.5 minutes on. I love the creativity in this. The sand pit, the toy cars, the rolling apples, even things that don't really matter at all, like the various plants and foliage everywhere, or the swing set. I like to highlight little flourishes like that because I feel like they separate the good from the great. They add so much charm. It all culminates into the perfect custom track. And it's all ruined by this blind turn at the end. What a pity. Moving on. I see you there, Shorky. I know you're watching. I see what you're doing. Don't think you're slick. You think making a Bowser Jr. track is gonna appease me? Make me give it a better review? Think I'll like it? Well, you're right. I like it. Good job. This was an entry for the 50th Custom Track Jam. The 50th! No way, dude. And it placed first, because of course it did. Only winners in CTGP. It's like Yoshi's Woolly Raceway, but even better. They've got very similar feels. It's silly and whimsical and cutesy. I really appreciate all the little details put into this. They really went all out in making this look like an arts and crafts project a kid put together. With the Mario Villain branded craft supplies, shelves in the background, almost everything is made out of cardboard that's been drawn on. Always love it when tracks have small things like that. It really goes a long way. The whole thing feels like Bowser Jr. trying to copy what his dad does. He's kidnapping people, holding them captive, setting up elaborate dungeons and traps in some faraway land for heroes to navigate, except maybe Junior's too young and his dad won't actually let him do any of that, so his next best option is to use cardboard cutouts and pretend they're real. He's even got the self-aggrandizing statue of himself to put here, surrounded by lava. I appreciate that y'all had the courtesy to indicate where these pillars burst out from the floor, but I wonder how funny it would be if there was nothing. How crazy would that be? I'd probably complain about it, I probably would, but it'd be so chaotic. So funny to watch people rage. I'm feeling a bit trollish today, feeling a bit mean, like I said before. I'm mean. Very creative track, and the execution is just wonderful. No clue how they managed to do what they did within the time constraints set by the jam. Legitimately one of the best tracks I've seen. Awesome stuff. And there's no bias in me saying that whatsoever because I main as Bowser Jr. None at all. This track is just good. What more is there to say? There is no more to say. This is the end of the video. I will see y'all when I make something last minute in 2025. Or not. The world may never know.